Alright, welcome back YouTube. So on this episode I'm going to be doing a build breakdown on my E36 M3 sedan with the S54 swap. So I actually tried filming this video earlier today outside the garage and it was kind of windy out and all my audio ended up being corrupted from using this little microphone right here. So back in the garage we have no wind, so let's get into it. Alright, so starting off with the exterior. I don't really have anything too crazy going on with it, so this should go by pretty quick. Coming to the front of the car, I do have the depot glass headlights, which is essential for any E36 owner. And all I've really done to mine was I just tore them apart and did the French yellow conversion to it, and that's just some yellow tint. It's a super easy install, anybody could really do it. I recommend it, it looks pretty baller. Also, I got the depot side marker lights, which are about 35 bucks. And if I wasn't running the smoked ones, I'd probably be running just ambers. But the way I kind of see it is I don't want to have amber and then also dual yellows. It might be too much yellow and orange going on in the front of the car. All right, for the front lip, I am running a AC Schnitzer Rep, which I got off of eBay for 150-ish bucks. And a lot of people will gripe and complain about how bad the fitment is on these. And here's the worst of it. So that little gap between the bumper and the lip, that's really the extent of how bad it is. Other than, I will be honest, you do have to cut about a ½ inch off this edge, but really not that big of a deal in my opinion. It does fit pretty good. I did finish mine with a single stage gloss black, and that is looking nice and baller now. And then your boy is also running some eBay fog lights, which were about 30 bucks, and surprisingly they haven't fell out of the bumper yet, so that's a win. Moving on to the wheels, so I do have genuine M-Par BMW wheels, aka the Style 37, so up front I am running a 18x8. Not sure what the offset are on those, but I am running a 205/40 tire. As for the rear, it is a 9.5 with a 215/40, and again, I don't know what the ET is on it, but these things fit absolutely perfect in the back. And probably my favorite part of these wheels are going to be the center caps, which are a OEM part, and those are the floaters. They're about 70-80 bucks, totally worth the money. And the only mod I have for the side of the car is going to be the side skirt extensions, which I found on K2 Industries, and unfortunately these are no longer available, or they are back ordered. I'm not sure when they'll have it again, but super nice touch. It's subtle, nothing too crazy, but it makes the car look a little bit lower and gives the side a little bit more contrast, I think. Alright, so coming to the rear of the car. So, as you guys probably know, this is called a LTW wing, and I actually sourced mine off of AliExpress for about 200 bucks. The only downfall on this LTW wing I found was it took about 3 months for it to actually show up. Other than that, the fitment's absolutely spot on. I mean, I have no complaints about it. And if you guys know LTW wings, the biggest flaw on them normally is the center sag, which I don't have any, so thankful for that. I mean, this thing's been tested up to like 130, 140 miles an hour, allegedly, and it's still in my car, so 200 bucks, I can't really ask for any more on that. Alright, so for this next part, you either love them or you hate them, and in my case, I love them. So it's going to be the clear taillights. You could actually buy these as is now. Before, when I bought them, they actually had the reds and then also amber up there. Me personally, I had to tear them apart and actually make them full clears, which was a very stressful and a painful process. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, but you could actually buy these now as full clears on rare36parts.com, and they're about 250-ish bucks, I believe, but yeah, definitely a must for me. I know a lot of people hate them, they'd prefer the normal OEM tails, but this ain't your car. Alright, so now we get into the meat and potatoes of my car and what makes it the most unique and what makes it stand out from your normal E36 M3 that's all stanced and ruined. So this is a S54 out of a E46 M3. I don't have anything too crazy going on with it. I did do all the Vanos work. I did the rod bearings, of course, and I also tied it off with a CSL airbox. And to make it work all harmoniously together with the E36 chassis, I went with the HT Performance Tune, which is a CSL-based tune. Car actually ended up making 320 wheel horsepower on the dyno, and that's set at 8,200 RPM for the rev limiter. And that is on 91 octane. And to cool this bad boy, I'm running an Amazon Special Reservoir, which I paid about 40 bucks for, and it is a knockoff Moroso, unlike the cap, which is legit. For the radiator, I just have a good old eBay special. Paid about 140 bucks with that. It came with a fan, shroud, and I actually had this since the good old S52 days, so I've had it for quite a while. I've had zero issues, so until I do like a tucked radiator system, I see no point of like spending more than that, and eBay seems to be fine. Also, the car does have an aftermarket oil cooler setup, so that's where the AN lines connect into the back of the oil filter housing. Those run down and they connect to my Setrap 16 row oil cooler. For the headers, I am running, I believe these are just like eBay headers. They're a Status Group knockoff. I don't think these are the legit Status Group headers, but they are catless. Those run into a 3.5-inch exhaust. I go all the way back, no cats, no resonator, to a vibrant muffler. Also, shout out to Chase Bays for the booster delete. So there's their dual piston booster delete, and this thing is absolutely amazing. It does take a while to get used to, but I would never go back to a boosted system. So that about covers everything in my engine bay. I mean, I didn't really touch on the whole shaved bay thing, but I mean, I don't really know what to talk about that. It is a shaved bay. I would like to do more. So down the road, that's going to disappear. I want to get rid of the whole fuse box and minimize it. It's going to be all located on the inside. So I don't know. This is a gold engine bay. It's shaved. I could have went a little bit further with it, but I'm definitely content with how it came out. And there isn't much E36s with shaved bays out there, surprisingly. And if you guys want to know how much it costs to do the whole S54 swap, I do have another video on that. I'll put the link in the description, so go ahead and check that video out. Alright, so lastly, I just have interior left, so let's get into the interior. But first, let me set the mood. Alright, so now that I have the mood set for you guys, let's talk about the interior. So first, the seats. Yeah, these are not my first choice of seats. These are Energy Prismas. They are good for what they are. I paid about $600 for the set. Yes, I'd rather have Recaro pole positions, but hey, I don't have $3,000 to throw on that right now. And then to actually mount up the seats, I am using these Garagistic billet aluminum seat mounts, and there's like a million holes on these, so you can really dial in exactly where you want these to fit. Coming to the driver's side, so I have these Rise Fab floor plates, and these are probably the best looking floor plates on the E36 market in my opinion. About $250, definitely worth it. If you're not running carpet or sound deadening, you kind of need it just because there is a step right there. Otherwise, your clutch pedal will be about 2 inches higher than it should be theoretically. So, baller floor plates. I also added some LEDs to the underneath to make it a little bit more showy. Rocking a Momo steering wheel with a Momo hub. This thing's starting to get a little worn out. It is Alcantara, so I'm thinking about swapping it out for a Renown steering wheel sometime soon, but this thing has served me well. Also a honorable mention to my cluster. So you may think this is like a normal E36 cluster, but you'd be wrong. So this is actually out of a Z3M Coupe, aka the Clown Shoe. And this was about $1,000, and basically the difference with this is it revs out to 9,000 RPMs. Also, it is a full CAN bus cluster, so it does communicate properly with the whole S54 swap. And while I'm on topic of gauges, so I do have this Hard Motorsport HVAC delete plate, which I did do a carbon overlay and got it all nice and glossy looking. And I paired that with the BDO gauges for my oil temp and oil pressure. Alright, so this next one's going to be one of my favorite mods and one of my most recommended mods for E36, and that's going to be the shifter. So I'm a huge fan of like having a nice notchy shifter. I don't really care for like the OEM feel because it is really like sloppy and loose. I don't want that. So this is a Coolerworks Pro. It is self-centering and also has a reverse lockout on it. So paired with that, you also have to do the DSSR rod, which connects the shifter to the transmission. And if you guys are wondering where this damn light source is coming from, it's coming from my sunroof delete panel. I just threw some LEDs up there and pretty much just tucked the wiring up into my headliner, ran that down, and that's about as clean as I could really think about doing it. Coming around to the back seat of the car, if you want to call it that still, I have a 4-point roll cage, which I built myself. This is the first cage I ever built. I didn't really know what I was doing, but it came out really good. I'm proud of the work I did. I did opt for the bolt-in method just because I did want to get this powder coated, and as you may guess, this does match with the engine bay, so that was the main purpose of going bolt-in versus weld-in. And then lastly, I do have the seat delete going on back here, and a lot of people wonder, where did you find a sedan seat delete? And I didn't. So this is actually a Hard Motorsport Coupe seat delete, which I made work. So the only thing that's going to be different is going to be this gap right here. So if you're standing outside from the car, you're not going to notice this. It's not really a big problem to me. I don't care, but it might bother some people. Alright, so that's going to cover the exterior, it's going to cover the interior and engine. So all I really have left is going to be suspension and bushings. So starting off with the suspension, I do have Broadway static. I have 14K up front, 16K in the rear. So as for bushings, my motor mounts, my trans, my subframe, my diff bushings, those are all going to be Condor Speed Shop. As for the trailing arm, I am running a monoball setup, so that is going to be by Synchro Designs. Highly recommend that to anybody with the E36. That transforms the whole rear end of the car. It is pretty pricey. It is a shitty job to do, but Well, recommend that. Alright guys, so that pretty much concludes the whole build breakdown on my E36 M3 with the S54. If you guys have any more questions or if I left anything out in the video, let me know. I'll be sure to answer that in the comments. But like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm almost to 1,000 subs at this point, so if I could get to that point and get monetized on this, then I will be posting a lot more onto this channel. So until next time guys, see you.